Hello everyone, just thought I'd do a quickish video on YouTube on my Leopard Gecko enclosure. This is the first proper enclosure, I would say, that I've done, or that I think is a proper enclosure. So without further ado, thermostat and the thermometer on top. We have the canopy on top. There is a daylight light in here which has got no heat, which I don't use, to be honest, because they're bloody expensive when they blow. And there's a moonlight one. So I'll try and keep the camera still. There's a moonlight one which gives like a kind of like a dark purple kind of glow, which is supposed to simulate moonlight for them. And obviously I've got the daylight one in the Exoterra holder. So coming down, and the canopy is a medium, I think it's a medium size. The enclosure itself is 60 wide, 45 deep, 45 high. Bought it from Pets at Home online just after, or just around Christmas 2017, maybe just after, and it was 90 quid. So I think it was a bargain, because they're normally about 130, 125, 130 and upwards. So Pets at Home online, £90. That was delivered as well, by the way. Very good price. Whether they're still doing that offer, I don't know. So I've done this video a couple of times, but my camera work has been making me seasick, so I'm going to try and keep the camera fairly steady. On the right, we've got some fake foliage. I think it's from TK Maxx. Washed it, obviously, dried it, made sure it was all safe, popped it in. And the other side, I've also got a more genuine Pets at Home one. I had it from a previous enclosure. And a real plant from Lidl, of all places. £4 with the little tub, ceramic tub that it's in. Got the hygrometer there, which is just below 50. And the cold side thermometer there, which is under 70, which you would think is a bit low. However, it's a lot warmer. It's probably about 10 degrees warmer down here. I just didn't want trailing wires. And I know it's 10 degrees warmer because I've had a digital thermometer in there until I bought that analog one. I have a couple of bog standard Exoterra hides. That's the warm hide. The heat mat goes on this side here. It's a couple of inches in from the glass, and it stops about here, I would say, and it goes up to the side of the enclosure this side, and the heat mat stops about here from measuring. So that's definitely the warm hide. And as you can see, currently it's on 88.3. It varies between there and sort of 90, 92. And this is the moist hide. It's also on the heat mat mostly. There's a back part of it isn't. Excuse me. I don't keep it moist all of the time. Just basically when they're coming into shed, and I might spray it once or twice a week. Other than that, but it does dry out quite quick. And there's a bog standard Exoterra water container, and then I've just got the calcium dish. So what else is in here? I have got some natural rocks to try and keep it relatively natural for them. Got that from the garden, and along with a couple of others as well. Baked them, washed them, obviously baked them in the oven for a good 2.5 hours. Just to make sure all the nasties are off them, and that's the same with the two pieces of slate that you can see. This is their sort of toilet area, nice to know. But I just put the slate on, just gives them one or two more layers or areas they can move around, rather than just being, one flat area. Onto the rest of, and the substrate, just in case anyone's wondering, is Leo Life. It's Pro Rep Leo Life. And it's a mixed desert substrate. It's sand and soil. Obviously, people are going to be worried, or maybe not. They're going to be moaning about impaction. However, this is the feeding area, which is just bare. Again, it's a bare slab or a bare tile from somewhere. Again, in the garden, washed and baked. And as you can see, there's the calcium on there. Currently, they're only eating mealworms. When they are going to be on beetles, I might get one of those bigger feeding bowls that I saw recently, about 15 quid. It's basically about 3 times the size of that, which would sit quite nicely in there, and I could put the beetles and things in there if I'm going to go that way with the food, but probably will. On to the rest of the enclosure then. We have some fake rockery. I looked on YouTube and looked how people made it, and pretty much tried to copy him. I'm pretty pleased with it. It maybe came out a little bit dark from the painting, but I've tried to make it aged. And with the polystyrene, I'd got a decorating heat gun, so basically I cut it all and then melted the areas, melted the tops, and as you can see, it's given a very good rocky type texture. Unfortunately, the way I've painted it, it looks like it's filled with mould. So as I say, I might change at some point in the future and try and do a lighter one on this side. But there's plenty of places for them to sort of climb up, and they do climb up on. I've seen them climbing up on this side particularly and hanging around here, which is a bit weird, and then coming back down. This is the cool area, so, and you can see we do have one inhabitant currently in there. Probably a bit miffed that I'm waking her up with the glare. There's an entrance there and an entrance at this side. And the reason why I've got this thing in, I wanted quite a deep substrate area where they want to, they can dig and they can burrow, because apparently in the wild that is what they do. They make their own hides in the sandy soil. So that's why that's in there. I have seen them digging in it once, the very first time when they went in. After that, I haven't seen them digging at all, but it's only been in for about 2 weeks, and it is in their brumation period, so they might well start being a bit more active in a couple of weeks' time. And on this side, again, polystyrene, pieces of polystyrene glued together. The way I did the other side was, once I'd glued it all together, let the glue go off. It's like a PVA glue. A couple of layers of thin grout just to bind it all together, then painted it, and then about 2 or 3 layers of, again, watered down PVA, and exactly the same here, but except for the paint. So polystyrene, heat gunned it to make it look a bit more natural, and then I grouted it, obviously, PVA'd it, PVA glue, and while that was on, I sprinkled both of these with probably about 2 or 3 coatings of the Leolife substrate, the finely ground up bits and pieces, and some dried excavator clay. I had tried the excavator clay in there, but I wasn't impressed with the results, so I didn't know what else to do with it, so I tried sprinkling it on here, and it's come out, I think, really nicely. So it gives kind of like a sandstone effect. And you know, you might look at this and go, well, you've got all these loose bits. They're not loose, because again, there's 2 or 3 layers of PVA sealant on the top of it, which basically, oh, that one, okay, so 1 or 2 bits are loose, but it's not something that they're going to eat, and they can climb up there, and it's a little bit wobbly, but they're pretty light, so they're not going to make any movement on there. And there's just a little bit of eco earth on the top, and also a bit of eco earth, as you can see, that I sprinkled around the back there as well. So that is my DIY kind of leopard gecko enclosure. I hope the camera wasn't too wobbly. I've done this a couple of times, uploaded it and felt sick when I watched it, so hopefully the camera work wasn't too bad. Plenty of hides for them both to keep away from each other when they want to, and obviously the hides are big enough so when they want to be next to each other and get some warmth they can. Oh, and here we have a bit of action. You're going to come out? Probably not. Well, there's the nose of number 2. I don't give them names because they're animals and they don't respond to names, so they're just my geckos. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Hope it hasn't been too boring. Take care, and I'll see you all next time, maybe with something else. Oh, any comments, suggestions, ideas, feel free to pop them down below. Thanks very much.